courage, and wisdom with Rich McClern. Strength, courage, and wisdom.
Hey y'all, it's your boy Rick McLaren, as you know it. Strength, Courage, and Wisdom every Wednesday at 9 a.m. now. That's a new time. Every Wednesday at 9 a.m. we are producing this show. We are on Facebook Live. We are on Mix Station Radio, Mix Station Live app, iTunes, Spotify, iHeartRadio, and Apple Podcasts, all under Mix Station Radio. Listen, guys, before we're just Facebook Live, but you heard all the other stations that we're on. We need you all to tune in. Thank you.
Hey, listen, guys, this is Strength, Courage, and Wisdom. Every Wednesday, we come to you live and ready. We can't stop. No stopping us on Wednesdays. Listen, I need you guys to tag somebody, call somebody, share that Facebook Live feed. I'm sharing mine as we speak, and I expect you to do so as well. Hey, listen, today going to be a bang up show. I guarantee you that. But while I'm tagging somebody, I need you guys to tag somebody as well. I'm tagging my pastor, I'm tagging my mom, I'm tagging my friend, I'm tagging my girls, I'm tagging everybody. It don't make no difference to me. I'm just tagging everybody today. So I'm asking everybody to please join in on the show today. I see we got some followers already. I'm looking forward to you guys coming on board today. We got a great guest, and we're going to introduce him later. You guys probably see him on the screen already, but we're going to talk about him in a little bit. But you know what I got to do first. I gotta thank my sponsors, because if it wasn't for my sponsors, guess what? The show would not be viable. So listen, my first sponsor is Au Pair Law, Mr. Clay. You guys are going to get all this information later on. Clay Au Pair Law in Townsend, Maryland. MGM Haberdashery, my man Marcus McAllister. Man, that's my man. Ace Coon Bomb. He's doing his thing. John Cashland from John Cash from Cashland. You can't beat that. Cigar Diva, Tracy Sterling Associates. He's a home improvement guy. My man Chris Culver from Prominent Home Inspection, and also now he's doing the cleaning services now. Coming in, spraying your home down, your building down, your office down, sanitation. He's doing it all right now. So it's Prominent Sanitation as well. We got Howard. That's Anna. He writes books. He's a ghostwriter, all the above. Food for thought, my man Damien Hughes. I got Lisa's Luxury Consignment Shop. She's in Mount Washington, right across from the Mount Washington Tower. She's doing her restaurant, Mount Washington Restaurant Tavern. Electric Butterfly, my girl Janet. You know, she's something else. She's a piece of work. She's into that health stuff, that sea moss and all that good stuff. And she's a blessing. The Isla Fragrance, and her name is Gabby, man. And she used to live here. Now she lives in Detroit. She's doing her own fragrances now. As a matter of fact, I'm waiting for my second package to come in today, hopefully. And Essence of Youth, and she deals with men and women. Just give us some skincare products to get that stuff out of your pores and get you looking beautiful again. And of course, my music is by the one and only Marcus Bevins, because you know every superhero needs a theme song. So I had to have a theme song. You know what I mean? So my man Marcus Bevins gave it to me. So thank you, Marcus Bevins, for my theme song, man, because it's Strength, Courage, and Wisdom every Wednesday. And listen, so I disclaimer, I always say this, man, I'm not a preacher, teacher, professor, none of the above. What I am is a 60-year-old Black African-American male that's been through a lot. I've lost businesses. I've made a lot of money. I've been married several times. I've been through a lot, and I understand a lot. And I'm here to share and impart with you today all the things that we think, I believe, are relevant going on in my life that we need to talk about and address. And I always tend to bring a good guest on board to help me deliver my message. And that's what I want to do. I really just want to touch one person that was going to go right, go left. Somebody was going to do a bad thing, do a good thing. Somebody that needs a blessing today. I hope they grab a hold of this message today and wrap this up in it and keep it moving in the right direction. That's my whole alternative, my whole goal with this show every Wednesday. I've been doing it for 4 years now, and I am excited about today. So, as you guys know, it's Capricorn season. For some reason, I got a lot of Capricorn fans. I know I'm going to miss some, but I'm going to say it right quick. My best friend, Mike Hughes, yesterday was his birthday. Big Mike, happy birthday. My man, E, used to be my barber. E, Eric Cheatham, that's my dog. Happy birthday. Connie Consuelo, she's in Atlanta, cigar pouring. She's doing her thing. She's down in Atlanta now, celebrating her birthday. Marcus McAllister, I didn't even know it was his birthday. He's from my hometown, and he's one of my sponsors for MGM Haberdashery. My girl Ann that owns the place. Today is her birthday. Happy birthday, Ann. Miss Berry, she's a friend of mine, mother, T's mother, Tanya's mother, Miss Berry. Happy birthday. T's brother, Jermaine, is his birthday as well. Happy birthday, Jermaine, man. Happy birthday to all the Capricorns out there. You know Leo's rule. You heard me? So I'll see you guys in July. Later for that Capricorn stuff right now. January, just beginning, and we're going to get going. So listen, there's been a lot going on in the world today and a lot of stuff that we need to talk about. And I've been wrestling with who can I get on this show to give me a perspective to talk about the current events, not only nationally, but locally, and then give me some other conversation around some other things we want to talk about. And I came up with a guy, man, that I'm going to introduce to you shortly. Man, the guy, first of all, he's a good friend of mine. That's number one. Number two, he's an actor, and which I didn't know. Didn't know that for a long time until I saw it on Facebook. I didn't know he was a songwriter. I didn't know he was a singer. I knew he was a political pundit because he worked in the political realm for a long time. He always espoused his political views on me constantly in our dialogue at local bars or out in different events. And he always shared with me his views politically. And I was very captivated by the way he articulated his position. And I think you guys today will enjoy this. I gotta introduce the one and only man, my main man, my good friend, guy. I'm happy to say a friend and call him a friend, Mr. Keith Renando.
That was close enough.
Close enough. How you doing, Keith, man? How are you,
man? Rick, I can't miss that segue that you gave me when you were talking about the Capricorns. Today is my brother's birthday. Yesterday was my sister's birthday, and Sunday is my birthday. So we got a whole slew of Capricorns. So I think a Leo's gonna have a little trouble in our house.
I don't think so. Leo's rule, man. We ruled everything around us. Yo, dollar bill, yo. You know what I mean?
Man, happy to be here.
Oh, man, I'm so glad to have you on. As you know, Keith, I always start off my foundation. My father was a pastor, or we were raised in the church. So everything I've done, even when I go public speaking, even though I speak in school systems and everything, I usually find a scripture that's apropos
yes, sir.
What we're going to address today. Now, I have two scriptures today. I'm going to read through them real quick. But this comes from the book of Proverbs. And the book of Proverbs is a book that is a collection of wise sayings, things that they used to say to folks to get them encouraged or get them to understand some things that were going on in their lives. And this first one was really a really interesting for me. Proverbs 28:15. Like a roaring lion and a charging bull is a wicked ruler over helpless people.
Mm.
Wow.
Mm. Mm. Wow.
We saw some roaring last Wednesday. We saw some charging going on last Wednesday. And the people were unruly and less than most. And I was shocked to see that occurrence. And that's what we're going to be talking a little bit about today. But the next scripture, which I really want to read, man, has really been really profound, was Proverbs 18. It said, pride goes before destruction and a haughty spirit before the fall. Wow. That word, those words there is unbelievable, man, because pride is a sense of ownership, a sense of dignity. Like, I'm better than most. I'm important. It's me. It's all about me. Comes before destruction. It's all about me before you go destruct. It's about me. It's about D. Trump, number 45. It's about me. And then the haughty spirit is a sense of arrogance, a sense of self-loathing. It's a sense of conceitedness. It's a sense of stuck on you before the fall. And we're getting ready to see that go down right now today. Right now, it's going down right now in front of the Senate in regards to the request for impeachment.
That's right.
So Keith, you speak well. You know that I call you the voice. That's another issue. I call you my man. I call you the voice. And hey, listen, everybody. I want to say everybody, Martina, my mom, Karen, everybody. Hi, everybody. Join. Tell somebody to join the show. Keith is getting ready to start talking now. So Keith, my first question to you: what is your thoughts on what transpired last Wednesday?
Man, it's Rick. We are living in a really weird time. You know, we've seen two things that I think it's safe to say the vast majority of us never thought we'd see. One, COVID and a pandemic. Two, an insurrection on the U.S. Capitol. I don't think any of us could have ever fathomed something like this. But fact is, I think, quite frankly, the universe is trying to tell us something. You know, I think we are in the midst of a transition, a transformation, even that we can't ignore at this juncture. We cannot ignore it. So, but about last Wednesday, I thought about this, Rick, and I thought about, okay, so who are the actors in this insurrection? Where are they from? What is their collective history, and how did that influence what happened on Wednesday? One of the things that I concluded, we hear a lot of the legislators, the Congress, talking about an attack on our institutions, right?
Mm-hmm.
When I think of the word institutions, unless I'm thinking about racism, I think about institutions as a means of stability, right? Institutions are built for that sole purpose, to create some stability, cultural, economic, political, right? So the folks who participated, the actors in this insurrection, many of them are Southern bred, right? Many of them are from Midwestern states. You know, these folks, they came together to assert their commonality, and their commonality is in fact racism. It is how they are bred. But the thing that I think connects with the institutional piece is that in the South, if you think about their history, there's not been a great deal of stability. There has been the enslavement of human beings after that, Jim Crow, Reconstruction. I mean, there's always these fissures in their existence that makes it a little less difficult for them to bombard an institution, because stability is not something they're even accustomed to. They're accustomed to shifts and fissures and changes and ebbs and flows. While I think in the North, we're more accustomed to a sort of leveling of cultural expectations. You understand what I'm saying?
Yeah, I got you.
We do not have those kinds of really, really dramatic and pronounced shifts in our history. There's a distinct difference between the two.
Wow. And that's what you saw play out? You saw that play out? That's what you saw
I saw that play out. And when I saw it play out, I thought it was inevitable.
Inevitable. That's what I think everybody thinks, of course. So, you know, me and you were big, you were definitely one of the first guys big on the Obama train, and you had some slogans for Obama and things of that nature. Yeah. What is your opinion of this current number 45?
I think you articulated my opinion of him in the scriptures you read. Because, this guy, I don't understand why anybody with a modicum of common sense who's ever had an encounter with sanity would not know that this man is literally insane. And I'm gonna give him some dap just for a moment. And I don't think I've ever given him any dap, but I'm gonna do it just for a moment. He carries his insanity with a little swagger, right? And because of that, the people who are gullible to his message, they hold on to it. I mean, it's almost like they're holding on to it for dear life. And in the midst of that, they are sending him the message, please don't do anything that forces me to walk away from you. And he has yet to do anything that forces these folks to walk away from him. There is something about his disposition, his philosophies, if he has any, his thinking, his behavior that really, really taps into the kind of psychotic, anti-democratic mindset that really, really does describe this cohort of Americans. You know?
Wow. Wow. That so well said, man. That's so well said. I agree with you 100%. But listen, hey, Dina's on the line. Dina Martin, Lisa Shannon, Sonia, Deidre, my mom, my brother, my sister-in-law. Hey, guys, listen, thanks for tuning in. Please share this with your friends and family. And we're going to be taking calls the last 15 minutes. So take this number down, 855-493-6499. We would love to hear from you the last 15 minutes. I got the one, the only Keith Strenght on with me today. I'm so excited because I've been wanting to get him on for a while, but today I got him on and we're going to let loose. So Keith, tell me your perception in regards to how you think things would have went if these were black folk down there in D.C. last Wednesday.
If you and I had been down there, we wouldn't be having this conversation. Plain and simple. There is no way in the world, let me put it succinctly, black folks would have been treated like foreign terrorists.
Yeah.
That's what would have happened. We would have been, I'm not sure what the carnage would have been, but I'm telling you, there would have been lots of it. If you can only imagine a stampede of black people rushing the Capitol, first of all, there would not have been any cooperation with our government with respect to how many people are going to have to pay for their crimes. We all would have had to pay for that crime. So there would not have been any inside man, because I think common sense is going to tell us somebody was working from the inside.
Yeah.
Right? We would not have had that kind of cooperation with our government. And our black legislators, who I believe sincerely have our best interest at heart, they would not have cooperated with us. Rightfully so. I mean, I'm not suggesting that they should. What I'm saying is black people would never get that level of cooperation for an insurrection. These folks did. So what would have happened is you would have constantly heard the body count go up, that number go up from day to day. This time, from last Wednesday to now, the number of dead would have increased dramatically from the beatings and the shootings and the stabbings, whatever it is that law enforcement would have done, right? And it would have been characterized as a terrorist act. And to the extent that it would have made us foreigners, not terrorist act from the inside, they would have relegated us, and I don't mean this to suggest any negative about any foreign country, but this country would have relegated its black citizens foreigners and invaders, and
and it would have went from not only from the people that were actually there to the communities in America as well.
The entire black community.
The whole entire black community, man.
Everybody would have been guilty.
So my question, and guys, you hear him talking, you already know why he's on my show. You guys need to tell somebody needs to hear this, because one thing I think about my show, we might say the same thing you might be hearing across the whole diaspora between all the radio shows, talk shows, and everything, TV and everything. But the way my guests articulated, I think will resonate with a lot of folks, and we're hoping you tune in today. So let me ask you this question, Keith. Where do we go from here?
I think, wow, that's a big question that I think people smarter than me are trying to answer. But I'll take a stab at it. I think, as we speak, they're impeaching this president. It's going to happen. He's going to get impeached, but then there's a matter of convicting him.
Yeah, right.
And I'm hearing some of these legislators say that it doesn't make sense to impeach when he only has a week left. Well, it does make sense, because what we want to do is protect the future, not what's happening now. We want to protect the future. And the most vital part of this impeachment is going to be his inability to ever run for president or any other office of honor again. I think that is the most vital part. That's what we need to look forward to. I don't want him to have Secret Service protection. That's another consequence of impeachment. I want him to be out there. Well, let me stop there. I don't want him to have Secret Service protection. I don't want him to have a $1 million travel voucher.
Yeah.
I don't want him to have a pension. I don't want him to have any of those things. He doesn't deserve it. He is a traitor. He is an insurrectionist, and he ought to go to prison. So I think once Trump is dealt with, then the entire country is going to have to reconcile itself with the reality that we just experienced. So I think for you and I and those who are like-minded, it's going to be fairly simple. We just move on from here after all of the precautionary steps have taken to safeguard our democracy, right? But I think for the other side of the equation, it's going to be very difficult for them to move on. So I think there's going to be a persistent level of violence. I think it's going to be intermittent. I don't think there's going to be any organized, people are talking about a civil war. That I don't believe that's going to happen. I don't believe that the military will allow that to happen, not in this current context. But I do think that there are going to be fits and bouts of violence, and I think we ought to be prepared for that.
Okay.
So I think after that happens, then we'll start to see some sense of civility, some sense of normalcy, to the extent that America could ever be civil.
Wow. So let me ask you this question. I found it kind of ironic, right? And this is my thinking, man. It's almost like a blessing in disguise that the insurrection happened, because I believe it's amazing how when something comes to your house, now you take it seriously.
Yeah.
Yeah. We didn't see these folks in Congress and Senate scared. You know what I mean? We didn't never see them being touched by the brutality that maybe Black folks been dealing with for years. We never seen them get so frizzle-frazzled because they were always protected by secret guard and had these guards around them, these fences around, these walls around. But now we penetrate the wall. Now we get movement. I like it, but at the same token, I say to myself, why? They couldn't see it before. They didn't want to see it. What is the rationale, man? What is the thinking, man?
The thinking behind?
They're not accepting this guy for who he was, and that this thing was building.
That's wow. Okay, so they being the insurrectionists and those who support them, this guy Trump has at least this is the number that's typically being thrown around, is 75 million supporters, anywhere from 75 million to 80 million supporters. Those folks are, as far as I can tell, they're looking for excuses for the behavior that we saw on Wednesday. But the reason they were there, and the reason that they are threatening to come back is because they are trying to eliminate the Black vote.
Yep.
They are trying, their specific goal is not to create a sense of anti-democracy. The goal is to create a sense of anti-democracy for Black people, right? That's the ultimate goal. Now, will they say that? Probably not. They do say it with their Confederate flags and their constant use of the N-word whenever they have an opportunity. They do say it. They let us know. That's ultimately what we're about. So that's the rationale. We cannot allow, in the midst of these shifting demographics, we cannot allow Black America to fortify its power. Because if we do that, then we lose the false narrative of white supremacy. So this is really about protecting and preserving this false notion of white supremacy. And when I say white supremacy, I mean the sort of bifurcated definition of it. White supremacy, on the one hand, is the idea that because I'm white, I am in fact superior to you, right? The other side of the equation is white supremacy is an institutional, living, breathing, institutional, cultural paradigm under which white people have privileges and entitlements that they do not want to share with anyone else, particularly Black people.
Particularly Black people. So we're going to stay on the national scene right quick, and I just want to get your thoughts real quickly, then we're going to shift gears. Sure. Guys, listen, you better call somebody, tell somebody to join this show now. So what are your thoughts on the President-elect Joe Biden and Vice President-elect Ms. Kamala Harris?
I hope that they will rise to the occasion, right? Frankly, I am not I'm not really excited about Joe Biden. I don't know enough about Kamala Harris to know whether I'm excited about her or not. I am happy to see a Black woman in the vice president slot, but Joe Biden has a kind of sketchy record, right? So I'm hoping that he, in particular, because he is the president, I hope that he rises to the occasion. I hope that he does not use his agenda pronouncements to sweep what happened Wednesday and what happened over the last 4 years, to sweep that to the side. What I mean by that is I don't want him to say, I'm too busy to deal with that. Well, you can't possibly be too busy to deal with that, because that is going to determine the direction of this country going forward. So you must deal with it. So I'm hoping that he brings to bear a Justice Department that will prosecute with a fervor we've never seen before in this country. Just as we've never seen anything like that, I'm hoping that the prosecutorial process will be as animated as the insurrection itself was.
Wow. Yes. That's what I'm looking for. Absolutely, man. So let me ask you a question, and I got to stay on this subject, national, real quick. One of my biggest fears, I shared this last couple of weeks, my problem with I'm going to say Democrat and Republican Party. As you saw, the Republicans, even though this dude was insane, knew he was crazy, knew he was doing some off the wall, so he broke almost every rule that's been written in the institution per se. Mm-hmm. The Republicans backed him almost 98% of the time, 98% of them. But if you remember, when Obama was trying to do some changes, and other Democratic presidents, the Democrats are disjointed. They were 60-40, they were 70-30, they were 50-50 in a lot of cases. And unless we get them in the 90s, we're going to have the same issue we've had with our previous Democrat. They can't get nothing done. Mm-hmm. When Republicans say, I don't care, he's our president, we're going to follow him, we believe in him, even though I might not like it, but I'm going to go with him, I'm going to vote in his direction. We're over here, we're infighting, we're always disagreeing with each other, we got our own little agendas, little freedoms going on, and we can't get nothing done. What do you say to that?
I think the distinction is clear. One, you're dealing with a rogue white president, a white male, which is the ultimate representation of Americanism, right? If you think about the all-American male, it's that white male, right? So he is is at least demographically, he's situated well. Then you contrast that with a black president, something we had never seen before, something that shocked the hell out of all of us.
Yeah.
On the day of his election. But so you're dealing first with that obvious contrast. So on the side of the white male, it's easy, particularly if you're in the Senate and you're coming from the southern Midwestern states, it's easy to support an agenda that is essentially rooted in racism and sexism. It's very easy to do that because you're racist and sexist, right? But the complexity on the side of the Democrats becomes palpable when you think about the fact that you have people like what's the guy from West Virginia, whoever the congressman is from West Virginia, Manchin, I think is his name.
Yeah.
Manchin.
Yep.
You have people like Manchin who identify publicly as a Democrat, but he really is a Dixiecrat. And Manchin is not the only one. He's the only one I can think of right now. But there is an infiltration of racist ideology in the Democratic Party that causes the kind of divisions that you're talking about. You know, so if you have a black president, that racist ideology is going to be even more palpable because they too want to show him you didn't stay in your place, and we're going to fight you tooth and nail to let you know that you didn't stay in your place.
Well, I'm hoping that Joe Biden doesn't get that resistance. We need some things to change. So we're going to shift gears right now, man. And you know, we both here in Baltimore area, and we got a new regime.
Yep.
And what are your thoughts on the Mayor Brandon shutting down restaurants and bars in the city of Baltimore?
I know this is controversial, but I think he did the right thing, man. The reason I think he did the right thing, because first and foremost, he's not a scientist, right? He has to listen to the data that the scientists are giving him. And I believe that's what he's doing. I don't know what the specific sets of data are to focus on restaurants, but obviously there's something saying restaurants have a role in increasing this virus. So if that is the case, then shutting them down is the right thing to do. No mayor would purposefully try to destroy the commercial infrastructure. That would not make any sense. That's his bread and butter.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
So I think what Mayor Scott is doing is the absolute right thing. I hear all of the pushback. The pushback is coming from places where we would expect. When you think about his closing of restaurants and other businesses, you also have to think about it in the context of gentrification. You know, this puts a kind of, this stunts the growth of gentrification. And there are folks who are dead set on making sure that this city, like so many others around the country, become as gentrified as possible. So when you start messing with that, you're not only messing with the individuals who want to see that happen, you're messing with the institutions like Hopkins and the corporations that want to see that happen. So he's going to get pushback, but I really, really like this mayor. He's young, he's feisty, and he wears a great afro.
I love it. So I kind of agree with you to a certain degree. I know it was a hard call on his behalf.
Absolutely.
This is my concern, being a small business owner.
Mm-hmm.
I knew that most small business, unfortunately, are living month to month, or let's say by month to by month. Some are doing weekly to weekly. A lot of the small business cannot withstand this storm. Already couldn't withstand the COVID storm, the pandemic storm. Now you compound it with the closing storm. And what I see transpiring, because I know a couple of businesses already that have been approached by big conglomerates, say, hey, I see you're struggling. Let me scoop you up. So and they're not like us. You know what I mean? So this is what happens when now they're vulnerable. They were vulnerable before, but now they're more vulnerable to getting out and figuring a way to save themselves, to keep their income coming or sell for pennies. You remember back in the day, man? Back in the day, our neighborhoods were pretty much full with our people owning the corning stores, owning the liquor stores back in the day. You know what I mean? And slowly but surely, people came in, the conglomerates, the people with wealth, the money came off, made them offer, and they got the heck out of there. And what's happening now, I see a lot of exposure for small restaurants, small businesses, small retail outfits that had a following, and now they're exposed. And I'm scared for them because I know, I can tell you right now, I have 5 friends that they're filing for bankruptcy right now. They can't do nothing. They can't do anything. And I know there's more people that I know that I just haven't talked to, or people I don't know that are going through the same thing. And that's what scares me.
And it's a legitimate fear, and that's why the commander-in-chief should not be playing golf. So that can be dealt with, but it has to be dealt with from the federal level, and with a president who could care less about the 5 people you just talked about.
Right.
It's not going to happen. But I'm hoping that in the Biden administration, they're not only talking about $2,000 checks for individuals, but they're talking about funding for states to create opportunity for them to rebuild. They're also talking about retroactive unemployment, right? So what I'm saying to you is this, that with what they're planning, PPE and all those things, I think that businesses will have a better chance of survival. But we can't rely on local governments to do that. It simply is not fiscally possible. We can't, I worked for state government for years. We can't rely on state government to do that. It's fiscally impossible unless the federal government is willing to share its enormous resources with the states until there is a sense of stability. So your concern is right on point, Rick, but Brandon is the wrong target to aim at, to express your discontent with what he decided. He did what he had to do, because, restaurants are not going to survive if everybody's dying. It's just that simple. And people are dying from this virus, whether folks want to accept that or not. People are dying from this virus. And I think it's better to be cautious than it is to be ambitious.
Man, wow. Thank you, sir. I appreciate that. The way you articulated this resonated with me. I'm good now. I'm good. Thank you so much for that, man. Thank you. So listen, what do you think? I got to ask this question. We've had a Republican governor for a while now, Mr. Larry Hogan. I want to just real quick give me your thoughts on his tender. How you think he did?
I'm not a fan of Larry Hogan's. I'm not a fan of Republicans, Rick. I mean, let me just put that on the table. I think that the Republican Party is the party of white identity, and they don't govern, particularly on the federal level. They don't come out with any worthwhile policy agendas. Their role in the federal government is to provide tax cuts for the rich. That's what they're there for. They're not there to represent the interest even of the people who engaged in this insurrection. They don't give a damn about them. Right. They care only about the people who brought them to the dance. Let's start there. So the second part of my answer is that Hogan, while he is a moderate Republican,
right,
he is a Republican. And he too has that undertone of racist ideology, which is why he is going to be certain to take care of Western Maryland and Eastern Shore and, those areas. But when it comes to places like Baltimore City and Prince George's County, he's going to drag his feet. Now, he needs those votes, right? He needs that support. Mm-hmm. But he is going to try to finesse his adverse actions on Baltimore and Prince George's County with rationalizations. For example, the transportation. I forgot what they even call it.
The red line.
The red line. Yeah. I don't know everything there is to know about that particular piece of legislation, but I do know that he acted very arbitrarily and offered no options. Right? It was just, no, you're not getting this. That's it. I don't think that would have happened in a place like in Western Maryland. Or he's a Republican. He's a Republican, and he's going to net Republican consequences.
Yep.
Right.
Yep.
So.
Yep. I appreciate that, man. Yes, that's what I'm talking about, guys. We're talking national. We're talking local politics, guys. Listen. I want you to take this number down, 855-493-6499. You can call it, or you can make a comment, and we'll read the comments. We're going to be asking questions in about 10 minutes of Mr. Snipes and myself. We want you guys to please participate if you can. If not, we will continue with our dialogue as we normally do. So listen, I don't know if you're aware of this, but there's currently a versa going on versus Baltimore City versus Baltimore County. There's some infighting. There's some questions going on between the two entities. What are your thoughts on those two?
I'm not really aware of what you're talking about. What specifically?
Well, we do have there's not a big political thing, but it's of course the West Side is supposed to be the new version of African Americans. The West Side are doing well. We move from out the city. We come out to Owings Mills. We come out to we come out that way. We leave the city desperate. The city shut down. The county doesn't shut down. Yada yada yada. As a matter of fact, I can tell you now. Just out last night to dinner, and all my friends from Baltimore City were in the restaurant with me. So I was like, wow, okay. So It's like, Baltimore County is reaping the benefits. I mean, I can tell you the Ravens game, every bar, every household in Baltimore County was packed, with Baltimore Ravens fan. Meanwhile, Baltimore City's economy is being hit. We have a lot of Black executives in Baltimore County underneath Olszewski. A lot of them, about 6 or 7. I can name them all, but I'm not going to do that right now. Under Olszewski, they're making a move. Olszewski's supposed to probably run for governor. We have Peter Franchot running for governor. So that's why I was talking about. I don't know if you're aware of all that, and if you want to.
I'm aware that Olszewski is putting in his bid for governor. I'm aware of that. That talk. But Rick, I think that again, I'll just reiterate what I said before. Regardless of what Baltimore County does, I think Baltimore City is doing the right thing, and I think that ultimately, if Baltimore County continues to be as casual as they are about these restaurants and other businesses staying open and packing them for Raven events, there's no football game worth your life, and I don't know what the numbers are in Baltimore County right now, but I can assure you that if they continue in the path that they're on, and Baltimore continues on the path that they're on, then there's going to be a whole lot more COVID cases in Baltimore County, but they will ultimately spread to Baltimore City. We are side by side, and unless both do what is necessary to stave this pandemic, then all of us will suffer for it. But in terms of the politics, I don't know, West Side versus East Side. I don't know. That probably has always been the case.
Are you from Baltimore?
Yeah, I'm originally from Baltimore. I grew up in Perkins Projects, which a few years from now, it'll make it sound like I grew up in a wealthy family because it'll be Perkins condos. But they're in the process of developing or redeveloping that area.
Where's that at?
That is down at Gulf and Broadway, right? Not far from Fells Point, Bond Street.
Okay, I know. Yeah, Ricky, I know exactly. I know you're talking about.
Yeah, that's where I grew up, Greg. Till I was about 12 years old, and then my mother, God bless her soul, worked hard. Man, we were on welfare for a while, and my mother found her footing in social activism, and she went to work for what was then on the corner of, I think it's Gulf and Broadway. I know it's Broadway, but St. Augustine Lutheran Church. Mm-hmm. Anyone from Perkins is familiar with St. Augustine Lutheran Church because it was really, really a oasis in the midst of a lot of social ills. And my mother was a lay social worker at that church. So, her footprint loomed large in that area. And she worked hard, and she bought us a home in Northwood, not far from Morgan State. And, so I lived there until I didn't.
Guys, listen, we're talking to the one and only Keith Snipes, man. He's diverse in this conversation. We'll take any questions from you. You can make them in the comments or you can make the call. Hey, so Keith, I've always had this question. I'm going to ask you this question now.
Yeah.
I know you're a very diverse man. I'm curious how you got the education. Where did you go to school? How did you get this wealth of knowledge? And I know it was instilled by your mom, but I'm curious. Give us your energy. How'd you go through it?
You know what? That's we go through our lives on a day-to-day basis, right? They're separated in hours and minutes and days. And who knows what it is that creates this repository of knowledge that all of us gain along the way. I mean, I'm not some, I guess, in terms of formal education, I'm not really that well educated formally. I went to Morgan for about 3 minutes, Morgan High School, but man, I love books. I love books. I have been fortunate enough to have some really brilliant people take my hand and take me from one step to the next. I've had some remarkable mentors. You know Richard Rowe.
Yeah.
I mean, some of the other women and some of the guys who, one of my most cherished friends and mentors who passed not too long ago, Shirley Dunlap.
Yep.
From Morgan State. These people became, when I was younger, they were mentors, but as I grew older, they became friends and confidants. And these people are, as far as I'm concerned, they're staunch intellectuals. And I have a lust for intellectual development. So I constantly look for ways to do that. Wow. I may fall short, but constantly look for ways to do that. And you mentioned my mother. I remember when my brother and my two sisters and I, when we were younger, I think your parents tend to watch you to see what signals you're giving off so that they can facilitate your growth.
Yep.
I remember my mother, and this is no slight on my brother and my two sisters, whom I love very much, but, I was always the precocious person in the family. It might have something to do with the fact that I'm the youngest. So my mother, I remember her buying me a set of books called The Happy Hollisters. And The Happy Hollisters was about this lily white family, lived in the suburbs, had a dog named Skippy, and all that stuff. And I remember literally my mother ran into some difficulty when I was around 8 or 9 years old, And I remember literally going to Gettysburg, Pennsylvania, and living with the Happy Hollisters for about 2 years, where, you know, I went to Catholic school, ate dinner every night at 6 p.m., uh, played croquet and with GI Joes, and I mean, you know, you would have thought I was blonde, but you know, that experience, I think, even though I was young, it left an indelible imprint in my mind because I went from the housing projects in Baltimore City to this suburb in Gettysburg with sprawling green grass in front of a brick house that was totally different from what I was accustomed to. But my mother just left books around the house. I remember one of the first I became familiar with, didn't know what I was reading, but I struggled to read it. Harold Cruz's The Crisis of the Negro Intellectual. I remember that book. It was beautiful. It was black hardback book, and when you opened it, it had this beautiful ruby red inside cover, and I would pick that book up and try to read those polysyllabic words, but I did not understand them. But when I became an adult, I bought my own copy of it, you know, so that, you know, those things, if I am making any sense at all, those things I think are reasons why I'm so hungry for this intellectual path. It, you know, it stimulates me, and I want to die trying.
So we have one question from Lisa Shannon. Lisa Shannon owns a consignment shop. She's one of my sponsors, and she's struggling, as most are. And she said it was just disheartening to hear and see Townsend Town Center, the Walmarts, all those guys are open, even have people waiting in lines. And then in her neighborhood, 3 restaurants shut down completely, can't even do carry out. And it's now drained because she was feeding off of them, you know, customers coming to their locations, feeding off them to go and support her consignment shop. And it's just sad to see. It's almost like a ghost town, she says, over in the Mount Washington area now. And she doesn't know if it's going to come back. And that's the scarcity part of it. So that was her comment. I don't know if that was a question, but a comment. But I think you articulated we're going to need federal help. We're going to need local help. We're going to need monies. I don't think we need. And I'm a business owner. Tax breaks are cool. I mean, they're good. They help out, but they don't help out like immediately. You know? They just don't help out immediately. We need an influx of cash, similar to the money you're giving, you know, the $2,000 check. But we need more than 2,000, of course.
Sure.
You need more money than that. We got to figure.
We need the money that they're giving to their rich friends.
Absolutely, man. Absolutely. We have to figure it out, man. We have to figure out. So real quickly, Keith, and we're waiting for some more questions to come out. But I want to catch up with you, man. What you've been doing, man? Talk to me. Tell me what you've been doing, man. Tell the people what you've been doing.
So you know, I'm a performance artist. So in this COVID environment, I have not been able to do many performances. We did a few Christmas performances with Chesapeake Shakespeare Company, but I just received a script this morning that I wrote. It's a piece called it's a children's play called Michael in the Magic Monument, and I asked the producer to send me the script because I'm thinking about reviving that, particularly for a Zoom environment. You know, as a performance artist, I've got to adapt to these new venues, and so I'm looking at reviving that and presenting it on a Zoom format, particularly because children, for the most part, are at home now. And this story talks about not just, it's called Michael in the Magic Monument because unbeknownst to so many people, until Dr. King was 5 years old, his name was Michael, right? So thus the name Michael in the Magic Monument. So it talks about these kids who go on this field trip to the MLK Memorial, and all of a sudden this monument starts uh, melding the people who actually participated in the civil rights movement start melding out of this monument, and they go to this kid Michael and they take him on these historical excursions, who they were, what they did, and so on and so forth. So so the children will have some foundation of what this current struggle is all about. So I'm doing
right there. Stop right there. I need something from you now. This came to me. Hey, people, tell your friends to tune in right now. Tell them to tune in right now. I need from you right now. I know you drink your coffee. You know what I'm going to ask you right now. Give me your Martin Luther King. Give it to me.
Oh, come on, man.
Come on, man. Give it to me, brother. Put your face on. Let's do it.
On cue.
On cue.
Man, oh gosh. What? Let me start here. I'm not even going to try to affect Dr. King's voice this early in the morning. That's just not going to happen. But the thing that comes to mind for me, Rick,
yes,
when I think about Dr. King and what we're going through now, is that simple line: "We've got some difficult days ahead." Right? That line just repeats itself in my head when I think about what's going on now. And I think that we would be wise to study Dr. King because he is evergreen. His thinking, his philosophies, his politics, his movement, to the extent that it was his, it informs us now. It informs us now. I'm sorry, I can't.
Come on, man. Come on. Give it to me, baby. Because next week this weekend is Martin Luther King's birthday, so I need to hear it.
Yeah, isn't it ironic that this stuff is happening on Dr. King's birthday? There's something both cynical and divine about that, isn't it?
Yes, yes.
Isn't it? I'll share. You know what? I'll share. I'll let if I can steer this away from Dr. King, and I'll share just a short piece of poetry.
All right.
That I wrote when I think about the murders of young Black men killing young Black men, which is a problem that we're dealing with perpetually in this city. People often talk about the killing of Black people by police officers, and then they contrast it with the killing of Black people by Black people, as if that absolves the police officers. But the point of this poem is that, no, it does not absolve them. It's poison from the same tree, right? These young Black men who are killing one another, who those who cast them call thugs and gangsters and drug dealers and so on, that is the low-hanging fruit. Yeah, they're doing all that. But how did that happen? What are the origins of it? So I wrote a piece, and I'm only going to do a couple stanzas. I wrote a piece called Cotton Caskets, right? And it simply goes, this is the story, the truth, and the light of a nation, a people, and a perilous plight. It began at a time that seems all but forgotten, when Black bodies were trapped on battlefields of cotton. Vicious, vile, and vast plantations fertilized the roots of depraved fixations that gave rise to a culture which gave birth to a nation that held Black hands in subjugation, making race, religion, and violence a preoccupation. This violence would spread to such extremes it nurtured nightmares and detonated dreams. Cotton shards reigned supreme by cutting Black bodies that shook, shuddered, resisted, and screamed. Conditioned by this wicked way of life, enraged by the pain and strife, when those Black battered hands picked up the knife, there'd be one less Black husband, one widowed wife, one quick stab, one less Black life.
Wow. brother. See, hey guys, I can't make this up. I'm sorry, man. These are my friends right here, man. I love you, man. You're amazing to me. I'm still a little ticked off about the Martin Luther King, but we're gonna be all right with that. Especially with him coming up this Monday is his birthday. I thought you definitely would bless us with that.
Yeah.
But also, I want you to tell people how they can reach you, how they can book you, how you can get you in connection with you. Give me your information.
Any of the social media platforms, I'm there. I'll give out my email if that's permitted.
Yeah.
KS, you ready? KSROMENO. Rick was laughing about my middle name. KSROMENO at iCloud.com.
And what's your middle name again?
Romenio.
Keith Romenio.
Romenio.
Nice. Whoa, that's beautiful. Hey, so Keith, real quick too, because we ain't got much time. We got another 2 minutes or so.
Yeah.
You're working on a couple of projects. I've shared with the people in your introduction that you're a songwriter, you're a singer, you're an actor. No, I'm not going to do that. I should do that, but you ain't going to do it for me. If you ain't going to do Martin Luther King, we need to hear something from your brother this time of day. We need to hear.
John.
Yeah, there you go.
Georgia, the whole day through. Just an old sweet song keeps Georgia on my mind.
I don't know what I'm talking about, baby. Man, that was a blessing, man.
It's a morning voice, man.
Yeah, it's a morning voice. I know you, man. I know you guys are very perfectionists and all that kind of good stuff, man. And I appreciate you trying to do what I asked you to do, and I appreciate it. I know I just snapped on you right quick, man. But guys, Keith Snipes, a great guy. And once again, you need to book him for a jazz show. You need to book him for some acting, not impersonations, but actually doing the voiceovers for Martin Luther King and others. As you know, his voice is very profound, and people listen to his voice. Matter of fact, I might have to do a voiceover with him on some advertisements I need to do. So we need to utilize him, man, and we're looking forward to seeing that the Michael the book,
Michael and the Magic Monument. Yeah,
Magic Monument. What is the other project you're working on? The songwriting and singing.
We're working on a project called Gray Areas. Right? Yeah. So you'll be able to relate. So it's called Gray Areas, and the brother and I were talking earlier about how music works nowadays. It's very difficult to describe a project because you can't call it a CD, you can't call it an album. It's a project. But it's called Gray Areas, and I call it Gray Areas because I'm gray, and I sing about and talk about, because there's some poetry involved as well. But I'm talking about those things, those nebulous pieces of our lives that we struggle with for the entirety of our lives, that we never really get a handle on because they're so complex in terms of the emotions that we feel. Things like love, right? Things like loss, the things that we ultimately are going to experience in our life. So I try to put them in song. I have a song called Where Does Love Go? And that song is about two folks coming together and professing their love for one another, and then they don't. So you have a person that goes one way and another person that goes the other way, but where does the love go? Right?
Where does the love go?
That's one. I have one called Too Many Suitcases. I was sitting on a train in Atlanta on my way to some island, and all the folks had suitcases. Quite frankly, I was running, trying to find out what my next move was going to be. So I was just moving from place to place, man. And I wrote a song called Too Many Suitcases. That, so now you got to get along your way. What will you carry today? You got the vices for the games you play, but you got to pack them all away. How you going to get that on a plane? People going to think that you're insane. Too many people leaving. There are too many suitcases in the world. Too many people grieving. There are too many suitcases in the world. People are always taking flight, thinking a change of place will make it right. If you don't know, there's always day and night, then what you need to change is your insight.
Woo!
No?
Brother,
Yeah.
Brother Keith, man, let me tell you, man, I want to thank you.
Man, beautiful.
Man. Yeah, I love your, I just love it, man. I just love it, man. I love you. You know that, man. You my man, my apple scrapple. Can't wait to hang out with you, man. Get to be around you, man. How's everything else going with you in your life? Everything good?
Everything's fine, man. I'm COVID bound.
Okay, I hear you on that one, man.
Waiting for the air to be fresh again. That's it, like everybody else. In the meantime, I'm just preparing for that day. When I think we all are, man. I heard you say this, Rick. This is the time of preparation.
Yep.
This is the time of transformation. This is the time for people to look inward and say, okay, this is a stunning reality. How do I fit into this equation? And what must I do now?
Ooh.
No?
Wow, I think we're going to end it right there. Listen, I want to thank you again, my friend. I love you much, man. You be good. Guys, you already know this show is about this. What we've been talking about, preparation, being creative in times when you're still. This is one of the first times you've been still for 8 months. If you ain't figured out something now,
amazing.
I don't know what you're doing with your life. If you have not been creative now, I don't know if you got creative in your body and your mind and your mindset. If you ain't did nothing during this course of time that you've been still, because I'm telling you, when you're a soccer mom, you're not a soccer mom no more. When you had to go to work and do a 9 to 5, now you're in your home with your kids. The first time in a while you've had dinner at 6 o'clock with your family.
Yeah.
Have you utilized that time wisely? Have you educated? Have you seen and watched your kids study and understand education and help them along the way? Have you done those things during these times where you're still? Because soon we'll be moving again. Wow.
Yeah.
Soon
It's a brave new world.
Brave new world. God bless you, man. Listen, everybody, we love you. Thank you so much.
Thank you so much, man. Thanks,
everybody. Man. Love you, boy.
Take care, man.
All right.
Please stop soon.
Absolutely. Thank you.
Strength, courage, and wisdom with a rich mind. Strength, courage, and wisdom.
Hey y'all, it's your boy Rick McLaren, as you know it. Strength, courage, and wisdom every Wednesday at 9 a.m. now. That's a new time. Every Wednesday at 9 a.m. we are producing this show. We are on Facebook Live. We are on Mix Station Radio, Mix Station Live app, iTunes, Spotify, iHeartRadio, and Apple Podcasts, all under Mix Station Radio. Listen, guys, before we're just Facebook Live, but you heard all the other stations that we're on. We need you all to tune in. Thank you.
I just sent it to him, Mark Weber. Thank you, man. Thank you, Wilbert.
Thank you, sir. That was an awesome show, Richard. That was an awesome show. I got to hook up with that dude, man. That dude, man. Look, when he was saying that poem, I said, man, I got a jazz piece I want to do with that poem. Okay. Just off of that poem, a song came straight in my head, a jazz song. I said, oh, my God, yo, I got to have him. And then do his poem over the jazz piece.
Yes.
So
yes.
We'll hook up. We'll talk.
We'll hook up, man. I sent the money to I sent it to Marcus. We'll be good now, baby. All
Thank
right,
you,
man.
sir. Blessings.
Thank you, man. Appreciate it, boy.
Peace.
Hey, yo, you getting better, boy.
I'm trying, baby. I'm trying. All right, Rich. Later.
All right, man. One up, boy. All right. So we're on Facebook Live. I don't know if you got your phone. You can join us on Facebook Live too, Keith. Okay. So I usually tag some followers while I'm in the intro. My man Chris Comer from Home Inspection, and also now he's doing right. Stunning. Zoom.
a.m. now. That's a new time every Wednesday at 9 a.m. We are producing this show. We are on Facebook Live. We are on Mix Station Radio, Mix Station Live app, iTunes, Spotify, iHeartRadio, and Apple Podcasts, all under Mix Station Radio. Listen, guys.